ta'ala, then ask. How must you ask? As a child nags for something, when he wants something from someone, and he keeps on nagging, he keeps on asking until you give him the thing which he demands. My Nabi says that is how you must ask in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you must keep on asking until you receive what you want from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you are asking from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are asking from the court of the one who is the greatest. You are asking from the court of the one who is the most merciful. You are asking in the court of the one who has power over everything. You are asking in the court of the one who gives shifa to people. Ask him to give you shifa, he is going to give you shifa. You are asking dua in the court, the one who gives risk to everyone. Ask him for risk, he is going to give you risk. You are asking dua in the court of the one who gives life to everyone. Ask him for a long life, he is going to grant you a long life. जो मांगने का तरीका है उस तरह मांगो, दरे करीम से बंदे को क्या नहीं मिलता. What won't you get from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but go and ask properly in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every person seated here is a sinner. All of us commit lots of sins. All of us commit lots of sins. Day and night we commit sins. Day and night we disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you know when you're going in a grave, every person is going to be squeezed by the grave. But there's a difference. A person who done good deeds, a person who pleased Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he goes in the grave squeezes him as a mother hugs and squeezes her child. And a person who disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a person who went against the teachings of Allah and His Habib, when he goes in the grave, my Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, the grave squeezes him. And my Nabi made this action, that the grave squeezes him, that his ribs from one side mix and penetrate into the ribs of the other side. That's how the grave squeezes that person. All those people who order the most expensive mattresses, those people who have the best beds in your house, those people who can't even sleep properly, if there is a small fold on your bed sheet or something, it starts poking you. In the grave there is no bed sheet. In the grave there is no mattress. In the grave there is no blanket. In the grave there is no pillow. In the grave it is just you, your kafan and your deeds which you take with you. Today we can't survive few moments if the bed is poking us. On that night, how are you going to survive in the grave with the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Tonight, in today's time, if somebody is sick, somebody has a problem, somebody has some difficulty, ask him the next morning, how was your night? The answer will come that every moment was feeling like Qiyamah. Every moment, every second I was counting that when is this night going to finish? Am I right? Because you were in pain, because you were in difficulty, because you had trouble. One night you can't survive if you have a difficulty, if you have some sort of trouble. How are you going to survive the grave in which the punishment is going to come from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And there you are going to remain until the day of Qiyamah, until the day of judgment. How are you going to survive the grave? On the day of judgment, accountability is going to be taking place. Today's time, heat 35, 40, 45 degrees, we start shaking, we start feeling, we can't bear it. On the day of judgment, when the sun is facing you, how are you going to bear that heat on the day of judgment? Today we have shoes, today we have sandals, today we have slippers to protect our feet. That day you are going to be naked. No shoes on your feet, no socks, and the ground will be made of copper. How are you going to face the heat on that day? When you think about all of these things, then don't you feel like going back in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and going and ask for forgiveness in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Every person has some guilt in his heart. In your life, you did some action which you don't like at all. In your life, you did something which you feel that now it is enough. I have to go back in the court of Allah. I have to ask for forgiveness. Sometimes you feel that I'm crossing the limits. I have to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that moment, don't you feel like going in the court of Allah and speaking with your Rabb and communicating with your Allah and conversing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If you don't want to do it in front of people, then go home. Lock yourselves in a room. Off the light if you want to. And then make dua in the court of Allah. And whilst making dua, cry. Whilst making dua, cry. People say that real men don't cry. I say real men are the people who cry out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tell me, was there any person who is more greater than Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? But my Nabi used to cry in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is there any person who is like Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu? No. But Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq used to cry in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is there any person like Sayyidina Umar al-Faruq? No. But he used to cry in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is there any person like Sayyidina Usman bin Affan? No. But he used to cry in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Sayyidina Usman used to stand in front of a grave, then he used to cry and cry and cry so much. Somebody asked, Hazrat, we speak about death, you don't cry so much. We speak about Qiyamah, you don't cry so much. But when you come by a grave, then you cry so much that you go out of control. He said, oh people, because this is the first stage. This is the first step of the year after. If here a person is successful, in the year after he is going to be successful. If here he is unsuccessful, in the year after he is also unsuccessful. These were all men, real men, powerful men, but they used to cry in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you can't cry in the court of Allah, then make dua. That, Ya Allah, grant me those eyes which shed tears in your court, Ya Allah. Because if you can't cry, then your heart starts becoming hard. When your heart becomes hard, then nothing has any effect on that heart of yours. So my message which I want to leave everyone with today, that today is a night of ibadat, a night of worship, a night of going in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go and make dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the bottom of your heart. There were some people who were with us last year, and today they are not amongst us. Next year again, some people are going to be speaking. Maybe they'll be speaking about us, that we were here last year, and that day and that year we are not amongst them. We don't know who is going to be here tomorrow. We don't know who is going to be with us next year. If you don't know anything, then why do we still have hatred in our hearts for each other? Why do we still have grudges in our hearts for each other? Why do we still have enmity in our hearts for each other? Parents don't speak to children. Brothers don't speak to sisters. Sisters don't speak to each other. Everyone is in a mess. What's the reason? He took my money. What's the reason? He said something bad. What's the reason? He one day hurt me in such a manner. And are all these things greater than forgiveness from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? On this night, Allah Ta'ala forgives everyone. But the people who doesn't forgive, an alcoholic does not get forgiven. The one who disobeys his parents does not get forgiven. The one who associates partners with Allah does not get forgiven. The one who has malice in his heart for his brother does not get forgiven. The one who breaks ties with each other does not get forgiven this night. A night where everyone is being forgiven, you are being deprived of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't you feel that now you must go and ask for forgiveness? I request one and all, and this is a request from the bottom of my heart. Life is too short for mistakes. Life is too short for regret. If you don't do something now, tomorrow you are going to be regretting that action. Tonight, go and pick up the phone. If there is anyone you weren't speaking to, if there's anyone whose heart you broke, if there's anyone whom you hurt, if there's anyone you said anything to, pick up the phone and speak to that person and ask him for forgiveness from the bottom of your heart. By Allah, at that moment, if you don't feel at ease, then you can come and catch me on the day of Qiyamah. The amount of peace you feel at that time when you forgive somebody and somebody forgives you is something which you can never ever understand. If you are disobeying your parents, if you are going against your parents, if you are not speaking to your parents, if you are fighting with your parents, go now and ask them for forgiveness. If brothers are not speaking to each other, go now and ask for forgiveness. This night everybody sends messages to each other. No? Everybody receives messages, I'm sure, on WhatsApp. Make us maaf, make us maaf, make us maaf. I don't want those kind of messages. Go personally and speak to a person. And then ask for forgiveness. If you can do that, then you must know that you are a real person, you are a man in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sending a message, anyone can do. Sending a message and then hiding, anyone can do. The real courage is to go and face that person and then ask for forgiveness from the bottom of your heart. And once you have done that, you have asked for forgiveness from the bottom of your heart, then go to the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then ask for forgiveness. Perform 2 rakat salah and ask for forgiveness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you come in my court with the sins of your entire life. You shed 1 tear in my court, and that tear is equal to the wing of a fly. I'm going to forgive the sins you committed in your entire life. So please don't waste this night. It's a night of mercy, a night of ibadat, a night of forgiveness. Make sure that this night passes us in such a way where all of us are forgiven in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one more request I would like to make to one and all is that try your best to fast tomorrow. Inshallah. Some people fasted today, alhamdulillah, mubarak to you all. Those who didn't fast today, make an intention to fast tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sha'ban, tomorrow's the day of Friday, tomorrow's 15 of Sha'ban, and there's lots of excellences of fasting in this month. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Sha'banu shahri, the Sha'ban is my month. And as Aisha Siddiqa says, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to fast the most in the month of Sha'ban after Ramadan Mubarak. Allahu Akbar. And then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to fast in 14 and 15 of Sha'ban. When he was asked, he used to say, this is the day where everything is put in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The old book of deeds are closed and the new book of deeds are open. I like that my book of deeds must be closed in a state when I am fasting. It must open while I am fasting as well. So make an intention, everyone, that tomorrow inshallah everyone will fast, everyone will keep roza, and we will tell others as well to fast and keep roza as well. Whoever makes the intention, say inshallah. Inshallah. Say inshallah. Make an intention of fasting. You will get rewarded for your intention as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq and ability to act upon whatever we have learnt, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all on the straight path and always grant us love and muhabbat for each other. Ameen wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.